Hello, I'm NJYosh, and we are in Crosswind. Not to progress the story, we are here to do some testing. As you can see on my hotbar, I have two sets of cutlass and rapier. One upgraded by 2 levels, one just base. I want to see which truly is the better weapon for damage. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying the weapon you should use is the one you want to use. I don't think the differences in damage are going to be so significant as to say, okay, this weapon's broken, this weapon is unusable. I do not expect to find those results, and some of my early just kind of initial testing bears that out. There is a difference I'm seeing, but not so significant as to say, oh, I want to use this weapon, but it's not good enough. Now, we're going to try a couple different things. We're going to try to find the several different types of enemies, the dodos, the blue dodos, the maybe some pigs or boars if I can find them, and some drowned and maybe some sailors, some other pirates if I can find them. I think I know where I can find some. And we're going to do tests of both weapons, both the upgraded weapon and the non-upgraded weapon. And we are also going to test fully geared out with +1 Buccaneer stuff, because that's all I have right now, and I don't feel like grinding to get to upgrade it further. But with a 160 power from our armor, then we are also going to take everything off and test. It's actually I'll probably do the base weapon test first with no armor, and do the fully upgraded with full equipment, and then also test the base weapons with full equipment, because the damage you do is based on, let me see if I can find that information. I don't know if it's actually listed. The damage you do is based on a combination of the damage that the weapon does, like the 90 pierce or 300 slash, adjusted by your power and your... Yeah, okay, here it is. Total damage to enemies depends both on power and weapon power. So your total power, which is your equipped armor and your weapon power, and then your defense against damage is affected by your power, your equipment power. And that goes for enemies too. So we're going to do different damage to enemies based on their power. So we'll take a look at what that looks like. So stat bonuses. Okay, I have. Hang on, we need to get rid of that. So we don't want other things affecting our results here. So let's stick. Let's unequip those. You know what? I have a chest out here that's got some more space that is going to be for equipment. Okay. Alright. So let's take a look at our stats now. So, yeah, zeros across the board. Let's equip everything and see if anything changes in our stats. No. Okay.
I know what sort of wood was used for every ship in this harbor.
Okay. So, yeah, this is our full strength test. We'll do that first, just so I can try to avoid dying. And then I'm also going to do a test with, probably with the full strength gear and everything, with the weapon oil, because I think that might have an interesting effect on our results. So right now, there's an Azor Dodo. So we're going to start with the Saber. Single attack with the Saber does 516 damage, it looked like. Enough to get halfway down. And let's hit him again. Yep, 516. Okay. Let's see if we can find another one. And attack with the Rapier. Now, this is going to be based on a single hit initially. Alright. You know, when you're not looking for these things, they're everywhere. There's a nest. There ought to be one around the nest, right? I'll take those eggs while I'm at it. Crazy. I'll come back to you, pigs. I don't want to get myself confused here. Currently at 516. And you're a boss one. That's not going to be a consistent result, I don't think. I mean, we may take a swipe or 3 at you, but I want controlled results first. Unbelievable. This is the longest I think I've gone without seeing an angry bird since I started playing, I think. That boss was after me. There we go. Okay. Come on here. Come on here. Okay. Single hit. 154 initially, and we bleed. I think it's 8 points, 8 ticks of bleed. Yeah, so roughly 80%. Let's get rid of these coastal dodos. Hey. So, fully equipped gear. Rapier does more, unquestionably, with a single hit. Now, that's going to track with multiple hits, because the amount of damage and bleed per hit is going to be consistent. So if you hit him once, it does... I didn't add that up, but 800. I don't know. Whatever it was. That's how much total damage, you get 100% of the hit's damage, the damage and the bleed, from one hit. 2 hits is going to be 200%. As far as anything I can tell, there's not an additional multiplier or anything. It's 2 hits does 2 hits worth of... 2 hits does 1 hit's worth of damage twice, is the best way I can say that. So yeah, that's with my full gear. Again, I have a power of 160, weapon power of 180. So let's switch. We now have still 160, weapon power of 140. So we're going to do equipped, boosted power, base weapon. And, okay, you know what? There's a pig. Let's do our pig test. So, cutlass, 1 hit, 458. 3 hits to finish him off. 458. There's another pig. A couple more pigs. Rapier. Miss. 154. We're doing 73 a tick, it looks like. 73 a tick is what? That's 584. Did a little more than half, it looked like. Now, to check that, my assertion that 2 hits is 1 hit twice, let's get 2 hits on this pig. Okay. This should kill him. If I'm right. Yep. Okay. So I feel like I'm on the right track there. The rapier is doing more damage. Again, not a game-breaking amount difference. All right, you know what? Let's... ooh, our inventory's already full. I don't have room to... All right, let's just drop... No, let's drop the... that. Let's take all of our gear off. And here's where we're going to end up getting killed because we have no armor. Where is the Azor Dodo? There you are. Alright. Slash. 250, right? Yep, looks like 250. Consistent 250. A little bit more on the coastal dodos because they have a lower power. I'm going to get killed. Let me run. But we're expecting that. Coastal dodos have less armor. Equivalent, I guess. Whatever you want to call it. Alright. Let's get the eggs. Let's switch to our base rapier. Now, rapier does more damage. Rapier has less defense. That's the trade-off I think they're going for. You have, you know, I think it's 4 there. You have, yeah. So you get an extra point of block, of defense, whatever they want to call it, posture, with the cutlass than you do the rapier. A little bit less damage, a little bit more protection. And I think that's a fair trade-off, depending on your play style. Alright, I'm going to try to remember 250. I may try to put the stuff on the screen after it. I don't know. But let's try a pig test. Rapier. Miss. 79 hit, 37 bleed. Let's unlock so we can run a bit. Yep. You know what we can do? I can add those up. 231 damage on a hit. Let's just finish him off. Alright. I will try to remember to add those on screen because I'm spending too much time trying to not get myself killed to add those up as I'm playing. I want the batatas. Alright. Was there another? Kind of want the bananas too. Still need a blue dodo for the like base 0 power test with the rapier. It was 250 with the cutlass. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. I'm going to start making my way back to base so I can drop off some stuff because my inventory is full. Actually, I'm not going the right way for my base, am I? We don't need another pig test. We got that. We know what that is. There's a dodo. I'm still any bananas. This is going to be a bit dicey. All right, Rapier. $33. Kind of missed what that initial damage was because I was too busy running. I am now also starving, which is not ideal. Alright. We'll eat a banana, just keep from being starving. $75 initial, 33 bleed. Okay. That was 250 on the cutlass hits. That was expected. So 33 bleed over the course of 8 ticks is math. 264, right? Pretty sure. And 7 plus the 75 from the first hit. Was 75? Luckily, I'm recording all this, so I can go back and check these numbers. All right, let's re-equip our stuff so we're not running defenseless through the jungle. But there being some pigs here. So the other thing, oh, okay. So here's the thing. Rapier does more damage. We're seeing that across the board. Here's the wild card. The weapon oil. Weapon oil adds 15% damage to melee weapons. Duration 5 minutes. I don't know if that applies to the bleed. So what we're going to do, we're going to apply a weapon oil to our cutlass. And we're going to apply a weapon oil to our rapier. $177, $73. Let's look what he gets to at the end of his bleed. How much he has. Looks like he's got 1 section of health left. Yep. So the rapier still does more damage. So that applies to bleed as well. I wasn't sure about that. So, I mean, I feel like that confirms it. Like, I don't know where else to test, what else we can look at. The rapier does more damage. You have more defense with the cutlass, but the rapier does more damage. $485. $155 and then 73 times 8. Which 73 times 8, 584. All right, yeah. The only thing I can say, rapier does more damage to animals. See, now I left this. Animals have no block. I think it's now time to go find some drowned. Or pirates. And see if we see anything different. I am going to drop off inventory first, though. Oh, by the way, our log cutter or wood cutter here, cut us a ton of wood. So I've switched him to collecting fibers. You do have to pay him. You pay him in silver. That's why I'm down a bit on silver here. Let's take that out, I guess, and that out. And go find some places to put this stuff. My inventory's a mess. Okay, I need more inventory, but not right now. Food's okay. So, where are we going to find some drowned? I have an idea. Down here. You know what? Actually, before we look for the drowned, I think there is a pirate camp up here. And we can compare damages there. So our weapon oil has worn off, but we were getting just the same results with the weapon oil as we were without it. The same, you know, slew of results. Alright. So this sailor, let's get in here. 261. Okay. This is going to work better if I don't die. Let's try again. Come on, jump over. Thank you. I forgot what I said the damage was. So we're going to try to get one more slash in. Well, that sailor is just about dead. 261. Okay. $78 and 34 bleed. Ooh, okay. 34 bleed is 272, and 78 is brings that to 350. I really hope I'm getting that math right. I'm going to try really hard to remember to double check those numbers. But let's... Now the other thing I'm going to try to remember to check at some point. Is speed of attack. So that's the only other thing that can alter this. So yeah, these guys have defense. They have posture. Rapier is still doing more damage. Rapier also has the ability of stab and run. So you're, even though it doesn't have as much defense, you have the possibility of disengaging and pulling back. How successful that is, it depends on the circumstance. Alright, I'm going to do something I don't normally do. And come in back in here and boost my brightness back up. Yes, apply. Sorry. Rather than boosting it in post, because it's just easier this way. And I'm not looking for gameplay challenge. I'm looking to do testing. Now, I'm pretty sure there was a room in here somewhere that still had some drowned. There we go. Drowner. Hopefully just one comes around the corner. Hopefully one comes around the corner. Hello. Okay. Stab. 105. 14 bleed. Eek, that's not great. That's what, 104? No, 112. See, that did a lot more, but I'm not sure it was to the same one. Okay, that's doing 422. 67 and 14 for 8 ticks. That's like half. Let's try with the base cutlass. 375. 93 and 12. Okay, I think we may have found our difference. It seems like drowners may be more susceptible to slash or more resistant to pierce. One or the other. Amounts to the same thing. That's another thing I actually haven't tested. Is that that it's strong, the strong attack. It's like kind of a double attack kind of thing. Yeah, it does 2, which does get 2 stacks of bleed up. But I still don't think that's enough. To change the narrative. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm too impatient for my own good. I don't want to block. I just want to attack. Yep. Yep, too impatient. Okay. So, for the stage of game I'm at, which, granted, it is not super far into the game, and the enemies I'm currently facing, for animals, your rapier does a decent chunk more. I mean, we're talking 20 to 30% more? Or more? No, wait. No, maybe it's more than that. Again, we'll have the numbers, hopefully. I remember to do that while I'm editing. But for drowners, the cutlass is undeniably better. And by a fairly significant margin, I feel like there. I mean, we're talking twice? Like 200 with the this set of equipment, 200 on the rapier, just barely 200. And 422 with the cutlass. Although that was only 195. That one guy might have been different, or maybe it's that's all the armor he had left. I don't know. There's still a lot of copper for me to collect in here. That's good. Not sure where the secret is, but that's not what we're here for. So, those are the results as I've found them. You know, feel free to do your own testing, or if you think I'm wrong, I think I've made a mistake somewhere, happy to hear it. But I do want to stress, don't say, oh, I really like the cutlass, but, you know, I guess I can't really use that because the rapier is better, or vice versa. If you're going against drowned, oh, you know, I like the rapier, but I guess I can't use it because the cutlass is better. Use what you want. Like, it's not, well, all right. Going against the drowned, the cutlass is quite a bit better, but you can still kill him with the rapier. You may have to be a little bit more patient. You may have to be a little bit more conservative. But if that's the way you like playing, and that's the weapon that suits you, use that weapon. Don't just say, oh, that's, you know, the meta is, I hate the meta in games. Any game that only works if you play it a certain way is a failure in design, in my opinion. You know, you can't have things perfectly balancing things. That doesn't always work, and it can get a little boring if everything's always just absolutely identical. There should be trade-offs, but nothing should be unusable because it's not the better. Because there's an option that's so much better that makes it not be an option anymore. And I will climb down off my soapbox carefully as not to hurt myself in my old age. But that's going to do it. It's a little bit shorter of an episode, but you know, that's really what we were hoping to accomplish. And I feel like we did. So thank you for joining me. I'm sorry, we're just gonna go take one more look at the numbers on a drowner. 422. 105 and 14 points bleed. That's going to be 200 something. 200, 217. Yep. So, conclusions. Cutlass works significantly better on drowners. Rapier works a decent level better on all the other animals and the pirates as well. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will see you next time. Bye.